everyone! So a few months ago I decided to do an 11th Doctor cosplay with the Time of the Doctor style, along with my sister who had got her own Clara look. I really wanted to make myself a handles prop to go with it though. Hey buddy! So in this video I'll show you how I modified this Cyberman head to give it a handles look. Quick note, if you are going to use any guidance from this video, please be careful with the tools and make sure the Cyberman head doesn't run off and get anybody. Thanks! Okay, so after getting the Cyberman voice changer helmet, I grabbed a few images off the internet for references. The tools I used to alter the helmet were some screwdrivers, a Stanley knife, a bradawl, a small plier, masking tape and insulating tape. As for materials, I got some Plastico black matte spray, a piece of black foam paper, a piece of shiny blue paper, some cable ties, a lot of wires and some clotheslines. I'll explain that later. The first thing I did with the helmet was take the rail of teeth out. I used the pliers to try and twist them apart and then used the Stanley knife to cut the pieces off and smooth it out. To make it easier, I unscrewed and pulled the mouthpiece off inside. There's actually a clear piece of plastic inside for the blue light, so it might take a bit of fiddling to get it back in when it's time to put it back together. After that, I cut out the missing piece on Handel's head using the Stanley knife again. This part took 6 hours to do. To start with, I marked out the shape that I wanted to do, so I knew where I was going with it. Then from there, I just cut at the surface till the shape eventually came out. It took a lot of patience to do, but as long as you don't go mad with it, you won't mark around the shape too much. The helmet can be quite easy to scratch. If you have scratched it a bit in the area, don't worry because you can actually cover it up a bit with this part. Using a bradawl, I scratched into the helmet to create the marks that Handles has. I scratched into it a bit deep so the marks would be prominent, but not too much that it'd end up cutting through the helmet. Now comes one of the trickiest parts. It's time to spray Handles. I used the matte spray since the colour needed to look dull rather than a shiny appearance if I'd used a glossy version. I put masking tape over the eyes and mouth to protect them and used paper to cover the area that I was spraying in. It's a good idea to do this during dry weather, but just in case it did start raining while he dried, I put Handles in the TARDIS shed to keep him covered. Keep your distance when spraying. It doesn't need too deep of a dark patch, it's rather spread around. Don't let too much get on the handles themselves too, as it'll end up rubbing off when you're carrying him around. Make sure you've given Handles a good hour or so to dry out, then you can move on to adding the inside piece for the broken part. The chunk I made was actually a bit smaller than it needed to be, so mine didn't go quite to plan when I added the blue on. What I did was cut out an 8x8cm piece of black foam paper to use as a base. I then cut out the shiny blue paper to give it that look of a light glowing. I used a lot of insulating tape to fit it into the shape of the helmet and make sure it stayed in place. For the last part, I wanted to add some wires in, so I got a bunch of things for that. Some wires were old spare ones I found, some bits were ones that I got for cheap, and I even used items like a clothesline to act as wires. I attached them onto the top part of the strap with the cable ties and some insulating tape. If you put them on the top part, it means you can pull that section off and make it easier to carry or place it in a spot. And there we go! Handles was ready for his outings at conventions. His first one was at MCOM on 1st of May and he got a lot of love and comments there. I may upgrade him in the future. There were extra bits like the pipe and the metal bandages that I tried working on, but they weren't ready in time for the convention. This is the first prop I've worked on for a cosplay though, and I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment below.